Community service is super important when it comes. Again, for those of you that just walked in, if your kid is going to actually go to a school like Stanford, you need to make sure that they're involved in leadership. Start your own leadership group at school. Make sure that they're volunteering after school. The average hours are 250 to 300 hours over your kid's high school career. And your personal statement is really the maximum amount of time that a admissions officer is going to spend on your kid's application. They have about 3.5 minutes, okay? They're going to look at your GPA. They're going to say, did you take any AP classes? Did you take any honors classes? They're also going to take a look at your SAT or ACT scores. Girls score 15% higher on the ACT, by the way. So that's something that you really want to be aware of. And then also the brag sheet. I know as a college planner, we want our brag sheet to really wow the admissions officer. When the admissions officer takes a look at that brag sheet, they're like, wow, this kid is part of school government. This kid is playing sports. This kid is volunteering after school. This kid started their own leadership club. This kid is doing this. This kid is doing that. Guess what? That application generally will get flagged. And what I mean by flagged is they're going to take that application and say, wow, I want this kid to come to my school. He goes in a stack over here. Then they go to the next one. They may go in a stack that may be wait list. But you want your kid to be over here. So this is a little tip. It's a lot more than just getting good grades. Okay, if they're just getting good grades, you'll get into a good school. But a school like Stanford, 1/3 of their admission criteria is the things that I just spoke about. I have one gentleman that owns a corporation, and he has actually 5 corporations, and he has the value of them in reality is a couple $1 million, and his kid is going to UC Davis for absolutely free because we used a strategy that is not known to the public, and I'll go over that and I'll tell you what it is in a minute. But income too high, grades too low, the higher your GPA, the more money you're going to get out of these schools if you do the community service to go along with it. Own a home. There are 2 things that are exempt from the financial aid formula. That's your home equity, okay, in the federal methodology. There are 2 methodologies. The federal methodology, which covers 90% of the colleges in America, your home is exempt, and your 401k, retirement, IRAs, all that, they can't count that against you. So don't worry about that. That's something you can't be counted against you. Now, anything else that you have can be counted against you. What we do as college planners is we have software that gives us the numbers of schools, any school in the country. We know, we can go right in and take a look. Now, this is one of my families that went to, one of my kids that's in Princeton right now. And typical 6-figure family, completed FAFSA. The initial family contribution was $25,231. That meant that their need or their gap was $27,588. Okay? Well, I told you most schools are going to cover probably 50% of that, so you have to add 50% of that to this. That's your number. The students that we work with that are in middle school are students that they're being tracked. And what I mean by that is there's a program called Naviance. Naviance is the premier career counseling program in the country. It's $25,000 per school, but what it does, it puts your kids on track to go to college, and at a young age, they have an assignment that they have to do on a weekly basis. And these schools, what they're doing, they'll be tracked by schools that are going to give endowment scholarships. This particular gentleman gave $115 million to the University of Arizona Law School, which now bears his name, of course. CSS Profile is the institutional supplemental application that you will have to complete if your kid is going to go to Stanford, USC, Occidental, any of the Ivy League schools. Most of your East Coast schools, they want that supplemental application. Complete it. It's a bear. It asks you everything. It asks the kid how much are your grandparents going to give you. What's the right answer to that? 0. College planning, big numbers are bad. Not time to brag about how much equity you have. Hi parents, I hope you're enjoying the information in my ebook, 12 Insider Secrets to Pay for College. I'll tell you, I was a parent at one time, I still am, but at the time that my daughter was going through college, there was very limited access to a lot of information out there on the web. It really is. They give you the basic stuff, but they don't really give you the real deal. And you know, now I'm a professional. I've been doing this. This is entering my 9th year, believe it or not. And as a result, you know, there's a lot of information that I've attained over the years, and I'm trying my best to pass it on to you because I don't want you to be in the situation that I was in.
I was lost. As a parent, I was absolutely lost. I tried to do as much research as I could, and it just wasn't easy. So, and then, after all my hard research, guess what happened? You know how much money I got for college? Absolutely nothing. You know what they offered me? The same thing that they offer most typical families. They offered a loan, and that's it. I was highly upset. I thought that there was a chance that I would get some free money for college, and after being in the industry for so many years now, that I made a lot of mistakes. But these are mistakes, that I didn't know. Most families don't know this information, so that's why I'm giving you as much of this as possible. Now, I want you to understand something. Did you know the cost of college has just surpassed the cost of an average home in the United States? The cost of college is probably going to cost you between $110 to $120,000 per year. That's a lot of money. I mean, for any family, it's a lot of money. And the more proactive you are, the more information that you get about this subject, the more you're going to be ready. A lot of families, I mean, right now I have families that are calling me that didn't work with me, but, we've been in communication over the years, and they're like, Dan, you were right. They offered us no money. We don't know what to do. I don't want to go in debt behind my kid because I want to retire one day. And what are my options? And at this point in time, the options are very limited. And I did try to do what I can do because this is what I do for a living. But it makes it really tough because families are really struggling trying to figure this out. So I want to applaud you for reading my ebook. I want to applaud you for stepping up and going the extra mile to educate yourself. And hopefully I can walk you through this program, this process, and make sure that we can make a difference in your life. Because I'll tell you, this is not fun, parents. I know, I'm a parent. I'm also the parent of a 13-year-old. Yes, my daughter's 26 years old, but I have a 13-year-old boy. And that's a whole different ball game dealing with boys as opposed to girls. Not every boy, but most parents, if you have boys, you probably understand that most boys mature a lot older than girls. So you want to make sure that you put more time in. My kid, he goes to a tutor on a daily basis because he's behind in his math. He's catching up now, though, fortunately, but not every family has the resources to do that. So I want to make sure that you guys understand, and I want to give you as much as you can. I got a lot of good information that's going to be coming at you in the near future. Now, if you're the parent of a student that's going to be going to college, this is going to be a real process. Now, I'm going to ease that process because what I did is I dusted out I'm a real person. I'm not a speaker. I'm just a regular parent that happens to get into an industry that I knew I could help people. So if you're looking for the super duper, a lot of bling blang stuff from a speaker that you normally get for guys that are so-called experts in the field, you're not going to get it here. I just give you the real deal. So just if I make a few mistakes here with my missing a word here or there, it's because, first of all, I'm not used to being on a videotape, taping stuff. This is all new to me. I'm in my mid to late 50s. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but, this is, this whole social media, the whole doing videos, this is all relatively new to me. But I know that there's a huge audience. That's why I do it. I do workshops in high schools. I do workshops for nonprofit organizations. I do workshops. I'm doing a workshop for a congressman in our area next month. And as a result, I mean, the amount of families that are showing up is just absolutely crazy. And as the cost increases and increases, I totally understand why. So as a result, I want to make sure that you parents are able to get this information. Now, at Stanford University, which is in my area, I'm in Northern California. I live up near the Napa area. But a couple years ago, I did a workshop at Stanford University for their Parent High School Splash program. That's a program that they have that prepares parents for their kids that are eventually going to go to college. Well, I spoke there every year, and as a result, it was overwhelming how many families would come in every year, and they just overwhelmed me because the information that I presented was so different than what you're going to get from your high school counselor, who generally do a good job. But the information that we have is insider information. Most high school guidance counselors, first of all, they're just having a tough time just getting your kids classes. But dealing with the college aspect of it, most of them are very good at getting your kid in college. Okay, but the problem is, once you get your kid in college, how are you going to pay for it? They're not experts on getting you financial aid. They're experts at getting your kid in college. So this workshop that I did at Stanford, I had the idea back then to videotape it, which is what I did. And as a result of videotaping it, I kind of forgot about it for a couple years. And I was like, maybe I can use this later. Well, later is now. And as a result, I'm going to actually show this video to you. It's going to, for those of you families that want to take this a little further, I'm going to go in-depth information regarding how to pay for college. And my workshops are just, I'm not trying to brag, but generally when I do a workshop, I generally get a standing ovation because the information that we present is not generally there for, anyone else to see other than college planners. And the name of my workshop is Insider Secrets to Access Free Money for Your Kids to Go to College. That's correct, free money. Did you know that there are over $140 billion annually of free money? Well, some of that is loans, but I'm just talking about the majority of it can be free money. And as a result, but you have to understand the process to get it. Your kid has to be involved, first of all. Okay? If your kid is just halfway, getting through high school, you need to, really stick it up, and I'm talking about stick it up with my fist. No, just kidding. But you really need to get him on his A game, and him being on his A game is the start. The next thing he needs to do is you need to start getting your kid involved in community service, and community service is an aspect, and it's part of the process. And the third thing is probably the most important thing is you need to invest in some SAT/ACT prep courses if you can. And Khan Academy, if you haven't heard of that, KHAN Academy.org, they have free SAT prep there, and it's also a site that is a free site for tutoring. Yeah, free. 10-minute videos on any subject your kid is studying in high school, and it's free. So take advantage. Make sure you go to it's KHAN Academy.org. So be sure you go there. Now, I want to share this information about how to pay for college, because again, in my profession, I'm finding out that every year there are more and more people that are just struggling and struggling. Last night, I actually had a gentleman send me over his financial information, and it was just startling. He didn't save very much for college. Him and his wife between them, they made about $175,000. They saved about $15,000. Their kid is going to go to the University of Oregon. He's like, I have to commit within a couple of days. Can you help me? And I'm looking, and I'm like, maybe there's a possibility of him using his equity in his home. He has some, but not a lot, to pay for college. Now, if you don't know, the University of Oregon, if you're an out-of-state student, the cost is about $42,000 a year. If your kid is an excellent student, they may give you a $5,000 or $6,000 merit scholarship. Well, that being the case, you're still going to have to come out your pocket $35,000. That's a ton of money. And if you're not prepared, this is not an unusual situation. There are a lot of schools out there that it's going to be very close to the same cost. So what I would like you to do is, for those of you that are really serious about this and want to take this a little further, you need to take a look at the video that I have that I did at Stanford University. And what it's going to do, it's going to really give you a nice roadmap on what you need to do, the insight that you're going to get there. You're not going to hear anywhere. You're going to access how to access financial aid, how to access merit scholarships. You're going to avoid a lot of the mistakes that a lot of families make. I'm going to go into depth about the loan process and why you want to try to avoid loans if you can. Now, sometimes families that are not proactive, that have saved nothing, you may have to take a loan. I hate to see that, to be honest with you. I know you all want your kids to go to college. That's pretty much you have to have your kids go to college. And if they're not going to a traditional four-year school, send them to a tech type school. Send them to some type of trade school. They have to do something different because it's really tough in this economy to just get a career and a job. And I'm also going to talk about what are the best careers to study for and what are the worst careers. A lot of families, they just leave it up to their kid and say, okay, you're going to go study this, and they don't do the research on what it's going to cost your family to pay for college. And what's also your career. What type of career is your kid going to get into, and how much money do they make? So I'm going to go into detail into that on the in the webinar. I think you'll really enjoy it. Now, it's going to give you some real benefits because it's going to be less financial strain on your budget if you follow through and you see some of the tips that I'm going to give you. The college process is going to be, it's really confusing, and I'm going to take some of that stress off you. And I'm going to show you how to put more money towards college and your retirement instead of going on vacations. And yeah, I'm being real, because you have to take this. This is serious. Otherwise, you're going to be trapped in a financial nightmare. I'm going to try to show you how to have your student graduate with no loans or minimum loans. Now, it's not a bad idea to have your kids to have a little skin in the game. So I'm going to show you all this information in my online video at Stanford University, and I'm going to show you, most importantly, how to keep as much money in your pocket. And if you follow the information that I'm going to provide, then you will be very successful at this. So what I want you to do is, I want you to click the add to cart button and view this video. The video is going to be approximately 1 hour. You'll be able to play it back and forth, but what you want to do is you want to make sure your spouse is watching the video, you want to make sure your kids are watching the video, you want to make sure your neighbors are watching the video. And by doing that, you're going to be so far ahead of the game in the process. Now, again, the video is approximately 1 hour, so get some popcorn, get some food, sit down, watch the whole thing at one time with your family. I want to go again, click the add to cart button, and what we'll do is we'll see you on the other side. Hey, enjoy it. You're going to love it. Thanks a lot. This is Dan Evertsz, the College Money Pro.